We will build a great wall along the southern border. And Mexico will pay for the wall.
President Trump continues to promise that Mexico will pay for the border wall. Well, tonight, our investigative reporter Morgan Lowe has a stunning development. Not only is Mexico not paying for the wall, Mexico is actually profiting off the current construction.
We are hiking through high brush in southern Arizona, heading south toward the spot south of Sierra Vista where the San Pedro River crosses the border, the spot where construction crews are erecting a new section of border fence. President Trump says the country needs this to prevent illegal immigration and drug smuggling. Conservationists argue it's damaging a delicate ecosystem. But that debate is not what brought us here.
We didn't come here to watch them build the fence. We came here to find out why pieces of this are ending up for sale in the United States and Mexico.
Last month, we spotted this ad in a Phoenix area swap and shop forum. It reads, "Steel for sale, Arizona. We have an amazing amount of steel left over from the border wall Trump built. They are basically giving it away." During a text exchange, the seller wrote, "If you want to buy one and pick it up, $50. If you want to do a truckload of 80 to Tucson and we deliver them, $800. We'll get back to him in a minute. But first, we're taking you back to the border to track down a lead that metal from the border fence is also ending up on the market in Mexico. This is Lukeville, southwest of Phoenix, where a medium-sized army of construction workers with heavy equipment is building another new section of fence.
For years, the only structures that separated the United States from Mexico out here was vehicle barrier. The idea was that this area is so remote and so inhospitable to foot traffic that it really wasn't worth the expense of building a border fence or wall.
That's all changed now, and we see construction crews replacing the old vehicle barrier with new, taller fencing. We also see stacks and stacks of steel posts used to build the fence sitting on the side of the road.
So we're gonna go 2.2 kilometers south of the border and then head to Highway 2.
Now it's time to see if our tip was accurate, that pieces of the border fence are ending up in Mexico. We head south, then west, and soon we are traveling along the border on the Mexico side. It doesn't take long to spot what we are looking for. Piles of steel posts behind a fence in a Mexican junkyard.
Hola! I can't get anybody to come out to talk to me.
We see it again and again. Scrap dealers with stacks of U.S. border steel. We use a hidden camera to record a conversation with one of them.
Hola, ¿hablas inglés o nomás español? Un poco.
They to Mexico free.
Sí, yo entiendo.
He tells me the U.S. government is giving the steel to Mexico, and dealers on this side of the border are reselling it.
The people we buy it
Sí,
for $4.
$4 each.
To
Interesante.
The story sounds unbelievable. So we head further out of town looking for the spot where the construction crews are working today. Then something catches our eye.
That marker signifies the boundary of the U.S.-Mexico border. And if you look down on the ground here, this scrap metal from the border barrier has clearly been pushed into Mexico.
It looks like the only way this could have happened is if the construction crews actually crossed the international border into Mexico themselves. And this isn't the only spot where this happened.
All along this new fence, the old fence has been bulldozed down onto the Mexico side.
As we drive back to the U.S., I wonder, how is this happening?
There were DHS and Army Corps of Engineers officials standing there watching their contractors with a bulldozer and front end loaders push the scrap metal onto the Mexican side.
They were pushing the old barrier into Mexico?
That's right.
Gary Nabhan is a desert ecologist, and he's describing what he says he saw with his own eyes.
Officials from the Mexican municipality and the scavengers themselves have said that this has been going on for 4 months.
Is that legal?
No, it's not legal for a few reasons.
Andy Gordon was counselor to the Department of Homeland Security during the Obama administration. One of his primary responsibilities was adding border fence. He says at the very least it's illegal to cross into Mexico and back into the United States outside ports of entry. And it's illegal to dump things over the border. And that's just stating the obvious.
There are people in Mexico selling pieces of this border barrier. There are piles of the barrier in Mexico that have been pushed over by U.S. contractors, and there are contractors in the United States selling pieces of this barrier on the side. If that were to have happened while you were overseeing this process, what would have been the result? What would have been your reaction?
What would have happened is we would have sent teams in and use the inspector general if necessary. The irony here is, Mexico was supposed to pay for this, and it looks to me like at least some pretty clever Mexican people are probably profiting off it.
Gordon says it may not be illegal for the contractors to give away or sell the extra steel or old border barrier. We reached out to Southwest Valley Constructors, the contractor that's doing the work near Lukeville. The company said they are prohibited from sharing project information externally. Today, the Army Corps of Engineers told us we are in the process of collecting additional information and are not in a position to comment at this time.
But this is surplus U.S. government property, and it's worth money to taxpayers.
It isn't just people in Mexico selling it. Remember the guy selling border steel through the online forum?
This is Morgan Lowe at CBS 5 News.
We got a hold of him on the phone. He says there was a lot of interest in the steel he advertised. He sent us this picture to show how much there was for sale, although he told me he didn't want anything to do with the sale. He was only helping someone else unload it.
Do you know if he was told that he could sell it, or was it just abandoned on his property?
The steel we found for sale in Arizona and Mexico came from 2 areas near Naco and Lukeville. According to the Government Accountability Office, it cost between $4.8 million and $6 million per mile to install the fence that is now being replaced.
It doesn't seem like the taxpayers getting a very good deal here.
Protecting the taxpayer's wallet has never, ever entered into the equation here.
An official from U.S. Customs and Border Protection told us that the contractor did not have the required permission to transport construction material over the border into Mexico. That CBP official says that this situation and the allegations in our report are now under investigation, and because of that investigation, CBP could not comment further. Chris, back to you.
But Morgan, you look at that and people might be thinking, maybe this is just garbage, that it would end up in a landfill or something. But do we have any idea of how much that scrap steel is actually worth?
Well, the seller on the U.S. side of the border said he was getting, he could have gotten $50 per post, and we know that there were thousands of posts out there, but so that could be potentially millions of dollars. But if you just look at the scrap metal market right now, we did some math on the low end, very low end, about $500,000, and probably more like $1 million or more.
And as you say, that is on the low end. So can they just sell it? Doesn't that actually belong to the U.S. government?
Yeah, and that's the question that we couldn't really get an answer to because we haven't seen the contract between these construction companies and the Department of Defense. But I will tell you that a U.S. government official told us that this contractor was supposed to recycle that scrap metal, 7,200 tons of it. And we don't know where the proceeds from that recycling were to go. Were they to go to the contractor, or were they to go to the U.S. Treasury? We just don't know at this point.
So much in your investigation, and I'm sure so much more to come, but I don't think anybody thought people in Mexico would end up profiting off the border wall construction. Morgan, excellent work. Thank you.